Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Watchtower Examination. My name is Winston and I have never been a Jehovah's Witness. I have begun many of my videos with that proclamation, and today that fact of never being a Jehovah's Witness is going to take on added significance. I am examining the Watchtower organization. Why am I doing a video in response to Lloyd Evans? And for those who do not know, who is Lloyd Evans? Lloyd is a former Jehovah's Witness who is now one of the leading activists against the organization on YouTube. He provides excellent commentary on the organization. And this is why my not ever being a Jehovah's Witness becomes significant. I am a subscriber to his channel, as I am to other channels operated and done by ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. Because I'm examining the organization, having never been a member, I learn a lot from the people who have been there, done that. And so I obviously subscribe to their channel. They give me valuable information. It is important to listen to them, to hear their perspective, to understand this organization better. And I make that point because I am a little bit uncomfortable doing this video on account of the behavior of some viewers, and I'll explain what I mean. Because I am Christian and Lloyd is atheist, there are those who believe that as a Christian you should not be subscribed to his channel. You should not speak favorably of him, because to speak favorably of him is to promote him and his ideals. I do not subscribe to that view. Certainly do not. So if I support Lloyd on a point, there are folks who become uncomfortable with it. On the other hand, if I am to oppose him on an issue, persons seem to not be able to separate the issues from personal matters. But today, this video is going to be different because I actually am going to touch on a bit of Lloyd's personal life, because it is relevant to the discussion that we are having. And what is this discussion? I have observed, and I have made mention of it several times, that so many Jehovah's Witnesses, ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, when they leave the organization, they become disenchanted with organized religion. And believe me, I understand it. Listening to them, I do understand it. Seeing what the organization has done, I do understand it. But then there are those who also become activists against the Bible and against the existence of God. And Lloyd is prime example. He believes there is no God. He believes that the Bible is fables, a man-made book that is simply not true, at least in some of the things that it proclaims. Now Lloyd is taking issue with what he calls homophobic verses in the Bible. And he took on this rather interesting position about God not being able to apologize enough. God apologizing. I give you a short that Lloyd created.
I'm thinking of verses in Leviticus, for example, that call for gay people to be executed. I mean, you can't be more forthright or blunt about it than that, can you? And as far as I'm concerned, the God of the Bible, if he does exist, can never apologize enough for verses like that, where he's calling for people he's created gay to be killed for the crime of being the way he's created them?
No, that is loaded. There's a lot to comment on from that short within a minute. A lot. To begin with, Lloyd is a former Christian. Lloyd has studied the Bible. He knows very well that homosexuality is not the only sin for which God had decreed the death penalty in his nation, Israel. God decreed that idolaters be executed, that men who lay with animals be executed, that blasphemers be executed, that people who dishonor parents be executed, and among others, adulterers should be executed. I am a subscriber to Lloyd's channel. It doesn't mean that I have seen all his videos, but I have not seen the video that he did about ranting about, complaining about any other of the laws that God legislated in Israel the death penalty for. I have not heard him quarreling about God's decree that adulterers should be executed. Then there is this matter of sexuality. I'm going to play another short that Lloyd created on this very same subject.
You know, this is exactly the sort of hateful, immoral verbiage that you would expect in something that's just the product of small-minded, bigoted humans, or humans who were living in, quite frankly, a backwards age, where society wasn't as well developed as it is now, and where we understand more about sexuality.
So he claims that we have a much better understanding of sexuality than people of olden days. All right. But let us go back to a point that Lloyd made in the first clip about if the God of the universe does exist. And that is what I want us to talk about today, because that is the angle. If we were to look on the subject from that angle, we would begin to get some clarity on the matter. If the God of the Bible does exist, then he would be the creator of life. He would be the creator of the universe. And as Lloyd is pondering if the God of the Bible does exist, I'm going to invite him to ponder the ramifications if the God of the Bible does exist. Because it means that he created this vast universe in which we live. Pause for a moment, Lloyd, and think about the solar system. If the God of the Bible exists, he created that by speaking it into being. Now, if such a being exists, would you concede that he knows much more about life than you and I ever could? If he created life, if he is the giver of life, would he have the right to take it away? If he created us, would he have the right to tell us how to live? You dare not say, how dare you create me and tell me how to live? How dare you create me and give me laws to live by? Would you say that if the God of the Bible does exist? I ask you another question. You have 2 daughters. Is there any of your 2 daughters to whom you could explain the process of photosynthesis when she was just 6 months old? Would any of your daughters at 6 months old be able to understand when you explain photosynthesis to her? I think the answer is no. I would submit to you that if the God of the Bible does exist, his knowledge compared to ours would be like him trying to explain everything to a 6-month-old baby. Our knowledge of the universe, our knowledge of life would be nothing compared to one who is able to create the universe. Can we agree on that? Can we agree on a logical perspective? If he existed, would he know more than you and I? Would he know more than the angels? Would he know more than every single being that ever existed, that he created? Now let's touch on the matter of sexuality, and I want to say to Lloyd and all those persons who are using the sexuality argument that I do not think, from my perspective, from where I stand, I do not think that you guys have seriously thought through that argument. Because if you're going to make sexuality, God created me homosexual, and so I have a right to be homosexual. When are you going to say, are you going to allow for the pedophile to say the same thing? Because a homosexual man is going to say, listen, you have to understand, I am not attracted to women. You have to understand homosexual women saying, you need to understand, I am not attracted to men. And if you are going to be fair to humanity, you would then need to extend the same courtesy to the person who says, I am not attracted to adults. I'm attracted to children. Do you see the predicament that you put yourselves in with this sexuality argument? Now let's take it home. This is where Lloyd's experience becomes relevant. Lloyd went on a vacation and did a live stream confessing that he slept with prostitutes. He committed adultery. Lloyd recently did a video explaining to his viewers that his channel is having financial challenges. I commented on that video. Someone asked me, because I supported him in his campaign to get support for his channel, someone asked me if Lloyd is my idol. And that's why I tell you I feel a little uncomfortable, because of the way viewers are. But it's important that a response be given to Lloyd's questions and that video. So, in that video, created, well, I don't recall how long ago he had his affair, but it was some time ago. But Lloyd is still apologizing. He can't apologize enough, he said. So, with that in mind, Lloyd, do you now understand why God said, do not commit adultery? Do you now see the wisdom? Do you now understand that he knows what he was talking about when he said, do not commit adultery? Do you think that he was just being difficult and suppressing your sexuality? Or was he trying to guide you into a way to avoid complications and misery in your life? Can you now see that the command, do not commit adultery, is actually a command to protect you and to protect your family, and not some attempt to suppress your sexuality? And if sexuality is the excuse for giving in, why are you apologizing? Why don't you just say, listen, I was created with these desires and I gave in to the desires. What's the big deal? Can you say that? Does it tell you something then about sexuality and just giving in to sexuality? Lloyd, we're all human beings. We're all sinners. We all have the propensity to sin. All right, so I do not come here to condemn you. And I want people to understand that I am not condemning the man, but I simply want the man to understand what he's talking about when he's making this loose, my opinion, this loose argument about sexuality. Because sexuality comes with responsibility. I'm a sexual being, I'm attracted to women, but it doesn't mean I just go sleep with every woman. I have to exercise self-control. Could it be that as you, as I, as men in a relationship and women in a relationship should control their sexuality, could it be that homosexuals need to do it as well? And if you are going to say no, what then do you say about the pedophile and his sexuality? Because if you are going to be fair, if you are going to take on homosexuality and talk about sexuality, let's talk about sexuality. What about the man whose sexuality is toward animals? Do you support that too? Do you scorn that? Or do you say, hey, it's the man's sexuality, let him sleep with a goat? No, you do not. And I will ask you directly a question, Lloyd. If you respond to this video, respond to this question. I'm posing a question directly at you. Do you believe that it is acceptable for a man to sleep with, for example, a 14-year-old girl? Did you know that it is legal in the United States and in several other countries for an adult to marry a 14-year-old with the consent of parents? Would you criticize that? Because how do you criticize that while you are advocating for freedom of sexuality? Do you see the trouble that you put yourselves in when you try to take on God? Because he's out of your league. His thoughts are, we are not able to match God's thoughts. If he is creator of the universe, if he is the creator that is mentioned in the Bible, then you have to understand that he knows what he's talking about. You have to understand that he knows more than you and I. You have to understand that his ways are superior to ours. You have to understand that he knows why he's saying these things. Because we can never understand. And if you can explain to me what it takes to make a sun and to breathe it into space, then you qualify to talk about God and his decisions. Pure and simple. Pure and simple. And so, God will never apologize to anybody for his actions because he knows what he's doing and he knows that his actions are just. I may not understand it. Let me give you breaking news, Lloyd. There are things in the Bible that I have a difficulty grasping myself. I did a video entitled "The Plan of Salvation Makes No Sense to Me." If I were God, well then again, if I were God, I would be like God. But I imagine myself finding a much better solution than what Israel had to go through. I would never like to live in Israel in the days when they have to be sacrificing animals every day, sprinkling the blood in an altar. The thing just looks so gory to me. And I'm asking, Lord, why? Why this gory method? He knows why. One of the things that I have come to appreciate is that it makes us come to appreciate just how serious sin is. That's one of the lessons I believe that God wanted Israel to understand, and I'm happy that I was not born in that time. Why did God put this arrangement in place for his son to come and die a horrible death so that I can be forgiven? I believe there should have been an easier way. But I am trusting the one who created heaven and earth. I am trusting the one who knows far more than I do. And that is why religion, that is why Christianity is all about faith. It's about trusting God even when we do not understand. And he is the only person, well, maybe not the only, ultimate. He's the ultimate person that I give that to. Because I also have to trust my doctor when he makes some decisions I don't understand. And if I end up having to go to court, I'm just going to have to trust my lawyer with things legal that he understands that I don't. That's just how it is. The people with superior knowledge are going to do things that the people with less knowledge do not understand. Pure and simple. And in closing this video, I just want to make the point that I believe that homosexuality is a sin. But I do not advocate violence against homosexuals. I believe that every man has a right to decide the way he wants to live. All right? And as an adult, you are free to make your choices. And so I believe, so you can be an atheist and remain my friend. You can be a homosexual and be a friend of mine. But we can agree to disagree. I disagree with atheism. I disagree with homosexuality. But let all views contend. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Let me hear your thoughts on the issue, and let us please avoid the personal attacks. It may appear that I am attacking Lloyd personally. No, I am bringing up his situation because it is relevant to the discussion. Thank you so much. Have yourselves a wonderful day.
May the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you all.